Hey guys, what's going on, everybody? This is Dane from NYYU. We'd like to welcome you to the Yankees Farm midseason review. Los, we finally got another show on Yankees Farm, bud.
It's been a while. It's been a while, man. It's been a lot of things
Eh,
going on. A lot of things going on. I'm sick or you're sick, work. Yeah,
well, you got a promotion. That's always a good
I
thing.
did. I did. It just needs more work and more babysitting.
So we're going to start down at Tampa and work our way through the levels, guys. Start off by talking about who we've seen at Tampa that has impressed us. Just kind of run through some things and we'll go from there. Los, who you got first, bud?
I think we started off right at the top with Emmanuel Tejada. I mean, he's hitting 303, 348 during the first half. He was just consistent from day one. He's been pretty much one of the only guys that was hitting from the onset of the season, and he's hit through his injury when he came back, and he still continues to hit. He leads the team in batting average. He's fourth in walks. He leads the team in steals. Well, in the first half of the season, he did. Um, Power starting to come in a little bit. He's still mostly a singles hitter. I think he hit six doubles and a home run. The walk rate was just under 7%, and the K rate at 21%. He
You
did
know,
lead the team, like I said, in stolen bases with 18.
well, we expected that from him after last year. He was just a speed demon. But
Hmm.
of all the infielders that came from the FCL, the team that had all the All Stars last year, Tejada's looked probably the best of them all so far.
Yeah, definitely agree with no argument there. Like I said, he just hit from the onset and he's continued to hit. He doesn't look overmatched, has never looked overmatched. The defense might still be a work in progress, but he has been the best defender on that team in the infield.
He has. Do you like him better at second base or third base?
I think there's no doubt that he's a second baseman, but due to the crunch that they have in that infield, he's
Right.
playing third base. He's doing a pretty good job at third base, like I said. But for me, I think he's more of a second baseman. He doesn't show, well, right now he's not showing the pop that's necessary for a corner infielder.
Right. But power is one of the last thing that
Right.
develops.
That's why I
But
said
he's
right
got,
now.
right. He's got the defensive chop, at least the skill set to play third base
Hmm.
as well.
Yeah.
With that being a weak position organizationally, either of those two positions are going to be where he should end up long term.
Hmm. Right.
So who is
Moving on,
next?
moving on, you had Dylan Hassel. He had 249, 775 OPS, 19 doubles, a triple, eight home runs, 42 RBIs. The walk rate was just under 11%. The K rate is a little bit high, not too crazy though, at 27%. He did lead the Florida State League in doubles. He was second in RBIs to Roderick. And he led the team in home runs.
He's looked good. He kind of came out of nowhere for me. I until Brophy started talking about him and you a little bit. I really hadn't. He had been an afterthought for me, but he's had a very good first half. Looks like a legit player. Another great find out of Mexico for the Yankees.
Yeah, and one of the things that I spoke to Brophy about regarding him is his defense. He's very impressed by his defense. He's solid on both sides. He plays first base and he plays third base. And again, he's solid defensively.
Yeah, another corner that we need because
Hmm.
organizationally those positions are just not the deepest.
Yeah, it's very thin. Moving on, you have Willie Montero. He's hitting 249 right now, which is a big jump from where he was a couple weeks ago. 13 doubles, five home runs. The power starting to come in for him. The walk rate is about 7%, just a nick under, 23% strikeout rate. Last season, if you didn't know, he was the FCL leader in hits. He finished the season second in batting average as well. Um, he's coming off of back-to-back seasons where he did walk 13% and the strikeout rate was at 15%. So right now he's basically showing more of what I saw in him last season.
Mm.
Over the last 26 games, he has just been on fire. I don't think there's been a hotter prospect in the entire system. He's hit 364, 394 on base percentage, 950 OPS, seven doubles, four home runs, and the strikeout rate at 20%. Like I said, he's probably the hottest prospect in the system.
Easily right now, especially in the lower levels. It's nice to have
Mhm.
another
Yeah, in the lower
outfielder
level,
that
yeah, in the lower level, there's no question about it.
absolutely. Um, I really like the kid. I love the combination of the power and speed that he has. The bat to ball skills are so elite, as we saw with the hits last year. I'm just a big fan of Willie.
Yeah.
Excited to see what he
Um,
does going forward.
And he plays well on both sides of the ball. Defensively, he has a very strong
Right.
arm. He tracks well. I've had Brophy hit me up a couple of times. Impressed with his defense. I've always liked Willie Montero. I've always been a big fan of him, and I hope he just keeps progressing and moves on to the next level soon.
He should. He should probably get a look at Hudson Valley maybe late this year.
hmm on the offensive side, I would say that's it. But of course, we have to look at the two big prospects here, which are Roderick Arias and George Lombard. Starting off with Roderick, he's hitting 216, 312 on base percentage. The OPS is a little under 700. 10 doubles, 7 triples, 6 home runs, 43 RBIs, 19 stolen bases. The walk rate is at 11%. The strikeout rate is at 35. And that has to come
Ooh,
down. That has to come down. He's going to move on to the next level. But as I've always said before, the prospects, the way they progress is not linear. There's going to be bumps in the roads. And I just hope that if he is the prospect that we all think that he is, he's going to figure it out eventually. I mean, he didn't show that kind of strikeout rate in the DSL. Then again,
no.
throwing more fastballs and whatnot than the other levels. But still, I expect him to figure it out.
I do too. The right hand side or right hand swing is the concern for me. That just has not been his better side. The left hand swing, we've always known how good that was. He produces on that side. It's just
Mhm.
figuring out the right hand side. And we've seen that from other young switch hitters before, mainly Jason Dominguez.
Yeah.
Struggled, figured it out. I think Roderick will do the same thing.
Yeah, now that you touch on Jason, just keep in mind, over Jason's first 70 games, he did hit 240. A lot of people were asking what's so special about Jason? What's so special about hey Jason? Because he hadn't really done much within that first, like I think it was season and a half. And
Right.
then things just started clicking for him. Another thing, the errors for Roderick. I think he just hit 20 errors. And Baseball America did rate him as a plus defender. Um, I don't have an answer as far as the errors, and I haven't seen all of the plays. I don't know if it's a glove issue, if it's a throwing issue, so I couldn't really tell you that. Um, I just tell people keep in mind Derek Jeter had 52 errors in his first full season. You got
Absolutely.
to be patient with these kids, especially if it's a blue chip prospect.
Absolutely. They have to be patient with Roderick. He still has all the tools and talent in the world.
hmm
Nothing has changed as far as that, but it's just he didn't play a lot of games in the DSL because he got hurt, freak injury, same thing in the FCL. This is really
hmm
his first full year as a healthy player. So we're going to see some rough patches. We're going to see some adjustments, but I expect him to figure it out by year's end, and we could see him really turn into the prospect we thought he was.
I just want to bring up one weird thing, and I guess I'll ask Brophy about it. His home and away splits, they're just really off for me. At home, he's hitting 260 with a 373 on base percentage, 14 extra base hits, 3 home runs. But away, he's hitting 162 with 9 extra base hits and 3 home runs. I don't know what that's about or why it's such a significant difference, but maybe Brophy can chime in on that.
Yeah, I'd love to hear his opinion because that's pretty big difference just based
Yeah.
on the ballparks.
hmm
But young kids,
Next up, you have George Lombard. He hit 235, 367 on base, 12 doubles, 2 triples, a home run, 21 steals. The walk rate was at 16%, the strikeout rate at 23%. He closed out the last 13 games of the first half, hitting 313, 390 on base percentage, 900 OPS. That's 5 doubles, a triple, a home run. The walk rate was at 10%. The strikeout rate was at 22%. He closed out the first half of the season well, and I'm hoping he's taking it to the next level once the second season starts or the second half of the season starts.
I think he is. We knew that the growth was going to be slow because of how young he was. He was 17 when he got drafted. He's still just 18. Well, he might just be turning 19 in the next week or two, but he's still someone I am very, very high on. He hasn't looked that great defensively either.
Yeah,
So,
he's also going through the same growing pains as Roderick. He's having a lot of defensive miscues. But again, he's 18-year-old kid. We're hoping that he figures it out. They're supposed to be elite prospects. This is just part of their progression.
yeah, absolutely. What about on the pitching side?
On the pitching side, I have Alan Facundo. He finished well, I was gonna say he finished the season with a 2.40 ERA, 107 WHIP. That's 30 innings, 14 walks, 38 strikeouts, 61% ground ball rate, 30% strikeout rates, a 165 average against. Unfortunately, he was lost. I don't know what the injuries exactly, but he's done for the season.
Yeah, I heard that. That's too bad because he had really emerged as a
Hmm.
promising pitching prospect. He'll be back
Yep.
next year, and I think he'll be one of the top left-hand starters in that system coming back.
Moving on, we had Kate Smith, 3.94 ERA, 1.00 WHIP, a 61 and two-thirds innings with 78 strikeouts, about a 43% ground ball, 30% strikeout rates, 204 average against. He had multiple 11 strikeout games. He did have a really good start to the season with a 2.93 ERA in April, 3.00 in May and June. Just ERA just ballooned. I think he was getting hit really hard. I don't know which games exactly, but I know his ERA ballooned to almost a 6 in June. I'm sorry, 5.85.
Yeah, he has incredible stuff when he's on. It just like seems like he loses the zone a little bit, and then he kind of gets hit hard when he's trying to get it back in the zone. But he's another kid that broke is a breakout this year.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of Kate Smith. I hope for the best for him. I mean, he's shown flashes here and there. Like I said, he had multiple 11 strikeout games. The times that I have seen him, he's looked really good,
Yeah, I'm
promising
very
for me.
I'm very excited about him.
Next up, we have Osiel Rodriguez. He's pitching to a 2.18 ERA, 33 innings, which I believe is probably a career high for innings for him in a season. Um, 38 strikeouts. He's 40% ground ball rate, 28% strikeout rate, 132 average against. I think he should already be in high A.
He should be. I don't understand why he is still in Tampa. He should be up in high A and looking to move towards double A. He's an older prospect. He needs to move because they're going to have to make a decision on him pretty soon.
Yeah, due to the performance, like I said, he's been really good. It's probably been the best pitcher at Tampa this season, and the fact that he's 22, he should be in Hudson. He should be at Hudson Valley already.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I don't know if he's a Rule 5 this season, but it's the Yankees need to move him forward already. Yeah, I don't think he has anything left to prove at this level.
He didn't have anything left to prove at that level last year when he pitched
He
well.
didn't.
He should have been up sooner.
Hmm.
We talked about that all last year too.
Yeah. Um, Moving on to Hudson Valley, I think your boy Jesus Rodriguez hit 332, 412 on base percentage, 919 OPS, 14 doubles, four triples, five home runs, 33 RBIs, seven stolen bases, a walk rate of 11%, strikeout rate of 12%. In June, he was just on fire, 356, 434, 967 OPS, five extra base hits. And he did get recently promoted
Yeah.
to Somerset, but unfortunately, he's on the IL.
Yeah, that was 100% deserving. They needed to get
Hmm.
him up.
Yep.
And he plays so well wherever you put him. He's got a great arm behind the plate. He's a solid defender most every other place that you put him. Um, I think he's going to be could be a big trade chip, or he's going to be a very nice long term piece for this team.
I mean, well, right now, he plays multiple positions.
Right.
I would pencil him as a utility player. I would just keep going with him just to see how far he can get, or even if he can eventually get to the Bronx and become someone that the Yankees can, or can help the Yankees out.
Someone like that Oswald Cabrera type that can play multiple positions, and you
Hmm.
add in that he can catch, it's just a fantastic mix for a very strong bench player that you could do a lot with. And like we've always said, the kid just hits no matter where you put
Yep.
him. He just hits, gets on base. The strikeout rate and the walk rate being 11 and 12%. That's not something you usually see from a kid that age. It's a very impressive.
Next up, we have Jared Turner. He's hitting 265, 361 on base percentage, 20 doubles, 12 home runs, 52 RBIs, nine stolen bases. The walk rate was at 12%. The strikeout rate was at 17%. We've spoken about Turner a lot. We're big fans of Jared Turner here. Um,
Yes.
for me, this is another guy that has nothing left to prove at Hudson Valley. Over his last 24 games, he was hitting 290, 340 on base percentage, nine doubles, two home runs, 12 RBIs, with a 15% K rate. I don't think he has anything left to prove here. I don't know what the holdup is. He should be in Somerset.
He should be, but he's got Cowles in front of him. Siegler's the guy that I would move off of and give Cerner those reps, but that's just me.
Now that you mentioned Siegler, I just wanted to mention real quick, he's actually been playing pretty well.
Yeah, he has.
He's hitting like 320 over like the last 10, 12 games, something like that, with I think like three or four home runs, something like that. I don't remember when it was, but I looked at the numbers and I was just like, what the hell is going on here? Um, Something has clicked with Siegler, and he's actually hitting pretty well, like I said, over the last maybe dozen or so games.
Yeah, but getting back to Jared, he's still my long-term pick for this
Yeah.
team at second base. That's who I want. I think that he is a gamer.
Hmm.
I think that he contributes so much no matter where you put him. And he's another guy that can play both multiple positions in the infield and outfield. He's a very valuable piece to have. And, he's a smaller guy, but he sure packs a lot of power in that frame.
Yeah, and that's something that we've always heard. Oh, he's a smaller guy. He's a smaller guy. Yeah, but he's hitting. He's producing.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I don't really care if he's 5'5" or 5'4". Making lots of contact, and at times he does make lots of loud contact. Like
He
I did say,
does.
he had 20 doubles, 12 home runs in the first half of the season.
Yeah. And before he got hurt, he was really close to the lead in that division or in that league for home
He
runs.
he was. That's the game that I went to. He took a fastball off the hands, and after that, I think he missed two games, and he was back. And when he came back, he went into like a little bit of a funk. I think he was like 0 for 24, 0 for 25, before he started hitting again.
Yeah. And he's a good defender in the infield too. It's not
Yes,
somebody like a Gleyber Torres that you worry about making those mental errors. This is a kid who's going to make all the plays and make it look easy.
very strong arm too.
Yeah, absolutely.
Next up, you have Rafael Flores. The first half, he hit 285, 403 on base percentage, 869 OPS, 17 doubles, six home runs, 35 RBIs, a walk rate of 16%, strikeout rate of 23.6%. Over the last 39 games, he is hitting 451 on base percentage, 962 OPS, 12 doubles, four home runs, a walk rate of almost 19%, 24% K rate. And he was recently promoted to Somerset.
Oh, I didn't
And
realize.
yeah, he had his first home run today.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, he went 2 for 4
He
in today's game.
he's been surprising to me. He was always somebody that could hit, but we just never figured out where he was going to play, and he's looked really, really good this year.
He has. And he's another one of those undrafted free agents that,
Right.
that the organization seems to keep turning out like Hassel.
Yep. Great job by
Next,
them.
yep. Next up, you have Jay Savina. He's hitting 277, 359, 819 OPS, 20 doubles, seven home runs, 38 RBIs, a walk rate of about 10%, 25% K rate. If you don't know, he was pretty much the centerpiece for the trade with Milwaukee, which sent Jake Bauers over to them
Right.
with Brian Sanchez. And he
Yeah.
did show intriguing power last year. Seems to be putting it together. He's making a lot more contact this year.
Hey, that's another one of those trades that Cashman found where he got a quality prospect back for somebody who really we didn't have a use for at the major league level anymore. Avina has really, really impressed me. The speed, the power, and he's not a bad outfielder.
No, he's a center fielder as well.
Yeah,
Um,
he's
and
looked good.
and and the after fact, the throwing guy was Brian Sanchez, who's down in the FCL right now. He's pretty much been one of their best players. He's hitting well
Yeah,
over 300. And he's a phenomenal find by the organization.
absolutely.
On the pitching side, you have Cam Schlittler, 232 ERA, 109 WHIP, 54 innings, 71 strikeouts, 56% ground ball rate, 23% K rate, 167 average against. And like I said, the ERA was 2.32, and that's because it rolls a bit because of a spot start that he had at Scranton. He got lit up
Right.
over there. But other than that, he's been one of the best pitchers in the Sally League.
He's been one of the best pitchers in the organization this year, if not
Absolutely.
if
Probably,
not
yeah.
the best so
Yeah,
far
arguably been the
this.
best, yeah.
Yeah. And he wasn't on any of our radars coming into the season. I mean, he wasn't in our top 30, and he has just absolutely shot up those rankings for me. Another very promising arm.
Next up, you have Ben Shields, pitching to a 3.06 ERA, 109 WHIP, 47 innings, 10 walks, 62 strikeouts, 45% ground ball, 33% K rate, 192 average against. He was converted from a reliever into a starter, and as a starter, he's pitching to a 3.49 ERA as a ERA. I'm sorry, as a bullpen arm, he was a 2.41 ERA. Over his last two starts, you're looking at 10 in the third inning, 5 hits, 1 run, 3 walks, 18 strikeouts. Back it up even further over his last four starts, 20.2, 22 thirds innings, 8 hits, 4 runs, 6 walks, 32 strikeouts.
Do you think he stays a starter, or do you think they
He
move him
has
back?
to. I don't think they're moving back. There's no turning back. I mean, he's pitching really well, especially as a lefty.
Yeah, he's been good. Another find by the organization. I'm saying that a lot,
Undrafted free
but
agent as well.
exactly. Another big time find. And they just find the how do they find these kids that no other team does?
Breen, the Sam Breen.
Yeah, that's true. Rain does a phenomenal job.
Next up, you got Cole Ayers, pitching to a 2.68 ERA, 114 WHIP, 40 innings pitched, 49 strikeouts, 48% ground ball rate, 29% K rate, 207 average against. Looking at his Hudson Valley numbers going back to last season, he's pitching to a 3.09 ERA, 90 innings, 31 walks, 123 strikeouts. The kid is primed for promotion, in my opinion.
Yeah, he needs to get up to AA. And that's about the only thing you can say about him is that he's due to be in AA, and they could use the help up there.
Next up, you have Mason Vineyard, 1.99 ERA, 110 WHIP, 22 innings, 34 strikeouts, 36 strikeout. I'm sorry, 36% K rate, 117 average against. And since the promotion, he's pitching to a 2.90 ERA, 49 innings, 64 strikeouts. Another guy that, in my opinion, is prime for promotion.
Yeah, I am not sure if I'm ready to see him in AA, but he's looked very, very good. I just want to see more consistent command. The times that I've seen him, the command kind of goes in and out, but maybe I've just caught bad games. I don't know.
Mhm. And that pretty much wraps it up. I did want to talk a little bit about Brian Hendry. Um, we didn't see that much of him, but from what we did see of him, which was 11 innings, 5 hits, 15 strikeouts, he was an exciting guy to watch. Unfortunately, he's been on the IL since April 25th. There's been no word on what the injury was or how long he will be out for.
No, but he looked absolutely phenomenal in the early going. He looked like he was the breakout arm in last season's draft class.
He did, and Baseball America did name him as the one to watch back in
Yeah.
April.
Yeah.
And the last guy that I did want to talk about here is Eric Razelman. I don't think there's anything left for him to prove at this
No.
level. He's not going to be at Hudson Valley for very long. He comes in and it's just lights out. Like I tweeted yesterday, he breathes and he strikes out 3 guys.
Yeah.
Um, if I'm being completely honest, to me, he's probably the most exciting guy in the system. If on the pitching front, every time I see him in the game, I get excited because he's 3, 4, maybe even 5 strikeouts.
Yeah. He just brings heat. That fastball's been up to 97, 98.
Hmm.
He's looked very, very good. He's been hurt up until this point. He was drafted a couple years ago in the Chase Hampton, Drew Thorpe class.
Yeah, I think
But
it was a fourth round pick, if I'm not mistaken.
right. And he's looked phenomenal. And he could be someone that's very fast tracked in the bullpen.
Hmm. Definitely.
For me, he's been the second best reliever in the system behind Jack Neely.
Yep. Moving on to Somerset now. Our boy Augustine Ramirez,
Oh,
289, 372 on base percentage, 942 OPS, 14 doubles, a triple, 16 home runs, which led the league, 49 RBIs, which led the league, 10.7 walk rate, 16% K rate. Probably arguably the best hitter in the Eastern League in the first half. He did lead the
he
league in home runs, RBI, slugging, and OPS.
to me, he's been the best prospect in the system this first half on the
Yes,
hitting side.
absolutely.
And
Absolutely. Another thing, over his last 30 games, he's hitting 313, 376 on base percentage, 20 extra base hits, 7 home runs.
you know, that's a brings up a great point. What do you think he has left to prove in AAA?
I think he still needs a little bit of seasoning at AAA. I know that as of late, when the Yankees promote a top prospect to AAA, he's not there for long. I hope that's the case for Jack Neely, by the way.
Yes,
Um,
it needs
um,
to be.
I mean, I would keep him at AAA just to continue to work on his defense because I don't think on the offensive side of things, I don't think there's much for him to work on.
No, you saw him go from low A to triple A in less than 600 at bats. You don't see that
Hmm.
very often, especially from a catcher, and especially in a power hitter with a strikeout rate below 20%, and it's significantly below 20%. He
Hmm.
has just absolutely been phenomenal. And, one thing that we don't talk about him, he's got some triples. He's got 13 stolen bases on the year, I believe. Um, he can run a little bit. He's not your
Yeah,
typical.
he's not clogging up the bases.
Yeah, I am so high on a goose. We have both been for a year and a half. We've been talking about him, especially you. But this kid, and there's a reason why his hitting coach called him generational. I mean, you don't see the kind of things he's doing from such a young kid, especially a catcher.
Yeah, I think what is he now? He's 22.
Yeah,
Already at AAA. Like I said, offensively, I don't think there's anything left for him to work on. Of course, you want to continue to progress. Of course, you want to continue to be able to get better with pitch recognition and things of that nature. But I mean, I primarily would be more focused on his defense more than anything,
yeah.
blocking, framing, things like that.
And just for everybody to know, I've gotten a bunch of questions about him at first base.
Yeah, it's a work in progress at first base. I definitely would not want him playing at first base.
No, it's not good right now, but that's okay.
Yeah.
He's a catcher, and he's
Yeah,
a
he's never played first base. This is his first time trying to play it.
yeah.
I don't expect him to be Don Mattingly over there. So
And one thing about him is he's got a cannon for an arm.
yeah, he has a great arm.
I
And
see a
yes,
lot.
yes, there are some Gary Sanchez like
I was just gonna
uh
say that.
comps. Yes, yes, we see it. Yes, but it. I don't think it's the same thing. I think for one, I think August is a lot more mentally tough. More so than Gary was, and I'm a big Gary fan. I'm to this day, I feel for the guy for what happened here, but he's not Gary Sanchez. He's not Gary
No.
Sanchez.
And we say I when you say that, you mean it in the most positive way possible.
Yeah.
Gary Sanchez was a hell of a prospect. He was
Yes.
one of my all-time favorites that I ever covered. And this kid's better, in my opinion.
And for the record, I believe the Yankees broke Gary Sanchez. There was
Yes.
nothing wrong with him those first two seasons, maybe even
No, not
three seasons.
nothing at all, except they tried to change his defensive catching stance three different times, and that takes away from your hitting. And I don't know.
And
Enough about Gary.
I've said it before. If you hear that you suck long enough, as many times as he probably did, you start to believe it.
Yeah, absolutely. But I'm so excited about Goose. I think he's the catcher of the future in this organization.
Absolutely. Next up, you have Ben Rice. He hit 261, 382 on base percentage, 893 OPS, nine doubles, 12 home runs, 26 RBIs. The walk rate was at 14.7. The K rate was at 21%. He was promoted to AAA. The first 11 games there, or sorry, the last 11 games there in the first half, he hit 333, 440 on base percentage, 1.059 OPS, three doubles, three home runs, 10 RBIs. Um, he heard many people talking about how he couldn't hit left-handed pitching. Last year in the offseason, he went to work on it. He did finish. Well, this season he did hit 292 against left-handed pitching.
Right.
I think it's time to stop talking about that. The platoon, in my opinion, should not be happening. He should be getting the bulk of at-bats. I don't care who's pitching.
Yeah, I don't either. He has looked absolutely phenomenal at the major league level at the plate. He has not looked overmatched. I mean, you saw him yesterday get slotted in the number two spot because Soto was out of the lineup, and he did damage there. He came in
Hmm.
late in the game last week and pinch hit, got a hit, had two big hits today with a big double. I mean, the kid looks like he's everything that we hoped he was. Last year, when we talked about him, the power was all brand new at this time last year. And
Hmm.
we kept saying, we need to see more. We need to see more. Well, we saw more, and this kid is every bit as legit as we hoped he would be.
Yeah, and I think it wasn't that we were criticizing him. It's just that
No,
we wanted to know if the power was legit or if he was locked in. Did he unlock something within his hitting mechanics? Or was it just that he was hot? And that's all we were. That's what I think that's what we were asking.
yeah, that was what we were asking, and he has shown us that it was real. And
Yeah.
I think the I think he could be the first baseman in the future. I'm not interested in going and getting Vladdy Jr. I would rather give Ben Rice those reps and just live with it.
I mean, if the Yankees are going to play Juan Soto, they're going to have to figure out, which one of these prospects it is that's going to help the organization long term and can fit because they're not going to be able to sign these big time free agents, especially when you have what two guys already making 300 mil
Yeah,
and
three
one
guys.
poised. Well,
Well, yeah,
one poised to make maybe five, six.
right.
Yeah, so you're just gonna have to find places where you can cut corners. There are internal options. There are options on this in the organization that we feel can help.
Absolutely. And I just want Ben Rice. This next month is what's really important for Ben Rice before the trade deadline. And I think he's going to shut a lot of people up. I think you're going to see the power come out a little bit more in this next homestand now that he's kind of adjusted to the level you're seeing and get on pitches a little bit better. Um, I mean, he just about hit that one out today. It was a double off the wall, and he just absolutely ripped it. I think you're going to see some home runs in the next time he's at Yankee Stadium.
I got no argument there. I mean, I'm always calling for a prospect. I love my homegrown Yankees.
The prospect hugger,
Me, never.
never.
Next up, you got Ben Cowles, who has just hit from day one. He's hit 298, 378, on base percentage, 860 OPS, 21 doubles, which I believe was second in the league, I want to say. To a goose, by the way. Three triples,
Right.
6 home runs, 37 RBIs, walk rate of 10 and a half, and a K rate of 18%. Um, Ben Cowles is just a guy that was slept on. Not many people talk about him. I believe Pipeline did recently add him to the top 30.
Right.
Um, I forgot for who, but Ben Cowles is a guy day in and day out. He just hit.
Yeah, he has. And he's someone who is an option at second or third base next year if we
Yes.
need it. It's
Hmm.
somebody that's not being talked about enough, but he has really shown with the bat in double A that he can hit. He's always been able to field pretty well, and he could be an option at either of those two positions next year.
Yep. I think that pretty much sums it up, but I did want to close out because, of course, Spencer Jones is the number two prospect in the system, and he's on this team. Spencer Jones closed out the first half, hitting 243 with a 326 on base percentage, eight doubles, two triples, 7 home runs, 37 RBIs, a walk rate of 10.6%, the K rate at 35.2%. Not good. We've had this discussion before. He did hit 170 in May. In June, he closed out by hitting 296, 355 on base percentage, 901 OPS, seven doubles, a triple, 6 home runs, 29 RBIs. And, you just hope that, that he's coming around, kind of like Jason did, right?
Yeah,
Jason didn't start to turn it around until July 1st.
right. And Spencer's doing that. He started a little bit earlier. He had a grand slam and another home run today, seven
Hmm.
RBIs. He was, what was he, 4 for 5?
He was 4 for 5 with a walk,
Yeah.
single, double, 2 home runs, seven RBIs.
I think the big missing factor is getting that strikeout rate down. If we can see him do what he did in spring training, he went 106 pitches without swinging and missing once. If we can see him get that strikeout rate down to about 24, 23%, he's a superstar, in my opinion.
Maybe it was, we've briefly touched on this before in previous episodes that maybe Spencer Jones wasn't fully healed, and it
Yeah.
wasn't until June started that maybe that started to fix itself. And once he was starting to heal, then he's able to hit a little bit better. I mean, that's the only thing that I could see. I did tell people in spring training, like, listen, it's great that he's doing this in spring training, but he needs to do this in double A. That's where he needs to do this. That's where he needs to do it because that's what it'll tell us if it's legit. And right now he's doing it. Yes, he struggled. He struggled out of the gate. Remember, he had the injury. Took him a while to get back. I think he went right back. I think he went right back on the IL, or maybe he missed a few days after he came back.
He
But he
missed three
did
more
close.
days after he came back.
Yeah, but he did close out June with a bang, 296. Like I said, like we just said, 2 home runs, a big grand slam, and the double
Yeah.
today.
So we're seeing, hopefully, he has the same kind of summer Jason did. Either way, I'm not sure that we're going to see him in the Bronx unless something horribly goes wrong. But, it depends on Jason's injury, maybe. But I seriously think that he's an option for next year.
I'm not even gonna touch it because I always told you I don't think we're gonna see Spencer Jones this year. And if we did, something went horribly wrong. I know a lot of people were saying that it was gonna happen this year. I didn't see it. I thought the outfield was too crowded. I thought he was too low. He was too low in the depth chart. And he had some stuff to work on.
So there is one thing about Jones I wanted to bring up is that Everson Pereira's down. We don't know about the severity of Jason's injury. We've had varying reports there.
Mhm.
That obviously moves Spencer Jones up the depth chart a little bit. Do you think that there is any chance that we see him in the second half if he has a really good one like Jason did, maybe in September?
I mean, it still remains to be seen, right? Because as good as Spencer Jones has been, the K rate is still over 35%.
Yeah.
Do you really want to send him to the next level? Um, with that K rate so high? I mean, it's only going to get worse.
Well, yeah, it will probably go up, but they sent him up to double A last year with the strikeout rate about a similar place. So I don't think that we see him probably in the major leagues this year. It was just more
Yeah,
of
it's
a,
doubtful.
yeah.
I would doubt it. I would doubt it. Especially being the Yankees, are they going to add him to the 40 man to then send them back down? Because when Jason comes back up, then what are you going to do? You're going to leave Jason at Scranton?
No, no,
Yeah.
no, no. But
Yeah, so
now,
yeah, for reasons like that, I don't see it. I don't see him a Jones debut this year.
okay. Now on the pitching side, what did we have at double A on the pitching side?
Brock Selvich, 3.75
Yeah,
ERA, 113 whip, 79 and two-thirds innings, 75 strikeouts, 47, almost 48% ground ball rate, 22% K rate, 229 average against, we're big Brock Selvich fans here.
huge.
Um, yeah, I mean, I see Brock Selvich as a very good pitcher, very good major league pitcher.
So do I. I think he's going to be what we had Chase Hampton as this year coming into the season. That's being the best starting pitching prospect in the system. Um, I think he could be competing for probably the sixth spot next year. And if there's an injury, he should probably be the first prospect called up to fill in that role.
Yeah, I mean that would be a big thing. I would definitely love to see Brock reach the Bronx. The sooner the better. Does it happen this year? Very doubtful. We know that that's a goal of his. But there's just not an opening right now. There's just not an opening for right now. Like you said, maybe next season he has more of a shot to compete for one of the rotation spots.
Yeah, I think he does. He will be in a mix for a rotation spot next year. And I think he's a long term piece in the Bronx. He needs to
Yeah,
be.
I'm hopeful. I'm hopeful of that, definitely.
Yeah.
The next guy up is Zach Messenger. He's pitching to a 3.89 ERA, 116 whip, 74 innings pitched, 83 strikeouts, 39% ground ball rate, 26% K rate, 113 average against. I mean, Zach Messenger has been a solid pitcher day in and day out.
He's been incredibly good. I think he's second in the Eastern League in strikeouts right now.
I
Um,
think so. I don't remember the last time I looked, but yeah, he was definitely up in the top three, top five.
yeah, he's looked phenomenal, and he's another kid that we've had on here twice.
Hmm.
Only got to interview or air one of the videos, but he's been a fantastic pitcher, and he's one of the smartest guys that we've ever talked to. He's going to think himself to the major leagues in some role. He's and his the performance has really taken off. I think he's very exciting, but he's also one of those guys that's going to be a Rule 5 eligible guy. Do you see him maybe being a trade chip, or do you think that the Yankees hold on to him and put him on the 40 man?
I want to see the Yankees hold on to him. I think he could be a good pitcher for them. Maybe if not back of the rotation, maybe one of those middle inning relievers, a guy that eats 2, 3 innings at a time for them.
I think so. I think that he could do either one of those roles and excel. And he was a reliever in college, so
Sure.
maybe he goes back to that. in the Bronx if they need him to, and then works his way into the rotation like you saw Clark Schmidt do or something like that. I think that's a possibility for him as well.
He was also a reliever at Tampa, by the way. They converted him to a starter.
That's right. You're right.
Next up is our boy Jack Neely, 2.61 ERA, 113 WHIP, 31 innings, 51 strikeouts, K rate like K per nine of 14.8, 39 strikeout rate, 119 average against, recently promoted. I feel like he's a guy ready for a major league debut.
Yankees, please listen to me. Call up Jack Neely tomorrow. We need this kid in the Bronx. He can help this bullpen, and he is the best reliever that we have developed in a very long time. Get him up, please. Sorry, I have to make my
Um,
plea because I don't. I
the bullpen needs help. There's an internal option here. Let's stop playing games with these reclamation projects. I hate it. The Yankees DFA'd someone today. Um, but will the Yankees add him to the 40 man? That's another question. I think Jack Neely's ready for the major leagues. He should be debuting this season. I said it back in March that he was
Yep.
one of the guys that I expected to debut this year, and I'm still holding on to that. I mean, it's July, it's about to be July. Um, Jack Neely should not be a square for long.
No, he shouldn't. And he's everything that we need in that bullpen, strikeout stuff. He's capable of going multi innings. I mean, there's just not enough superlatives you can say about what that kid's done. And you've always said he had closer stuff. I was a little
Hmm.
questionable about that, but he has really excelled in that role again this year. I think
Hmm.
if they don't resign Clay Holmes, I think he might be in the mix to be a closer next year for us.
Yeah, and that's one of the things that I've been saying, right? If Clay Holmes, if his demands for, because I think he's a free agent this season, if his
Uh-huh.
demands for a contract are way out of what Hal Steinbrenner wants to pay, then Jack Neely could be that guy, and you should be calling him up right now to see if he's a guy who could be a back end bullpen piece or maybe even take over the closer role. But you want to get him that exposure now. You want to give him that experience now just to see what you have.
Absolutely. And again, he's been nothing but impressive since the day we drafted him. And he continues to be one of the most dominant relievers in minor league baseball to me. And I just want to see him in the Bronx now.
Yeah. Uh, like I said, man, let's stop playing with these reclamation projects.
Yeah.
Let's put some of these kids on this team and let's see what they can if they can help this team. I mean, there's nothing else that I can say about Jack Neely that I haven't already said. The guy is ready for a debut.
Yeah. I agree 100%.
Those were the last notable players at Somerset. I did want to talk a little bit about three other guys. Let me just start off with Luis Velasquez, who seems to have kind of righted the ship a little bit over the last 7 games. He's pitching to a 113 ERA, 8 innings, 13 strikeouts. Previous month he had been hit really hard, but for the month of June he was a sub 2 ERA. So hopefully it's a sign that he's fixed whatever issues it was that he was experiencing with his mechanics, and he's back to being the pitcher that we know we've seen.
He was dominant last year, just absolutely
Yep.
filthy stuff. He has that fastball that sits in the upper 90s, will touch 100, 101. And then he's got that wicked sinker, that beautiful changeup, and he's got a nasty slider. So he's got 4 pitches that he can pitch with. He'll hold that velocity 40, 50 pitches last year. I haven't seen him do that this year, but he is definitely somebody who should be a bullpen option next year for the Yankees as long as he can figure out the command again.
Yeah. The other guy I wanted to touch on was Tristan Vreeling. I know we were very excited about that April that he had, but
Yeah.
he's had a bit of an up and down since then. What are your thoughts on Tristan?
We knew that there were going to be bumps in the road because he got pushed to AA to begin his major league career, which is not something that we ever had seen before. So I think he's just going through some adjustments. The stuff still looks really good. The command gets a little shaky. The sequencing needs a little bit of work. But again, this is somebody who has been hurt for a year and a half coming into this year. He may be experiencing some fatigue, just going through what prospects go through. I think that he'll be fine.
Yeah, I mean, I had I still have high hopes for Tristan, but like you said, he went straight to Double A. That he did have injury concerns to start his career, and these are just the growing pains that we got to go through. I mean, the stuff looks good. At times, he does get hit a little bit hard. I think in his last outing, he just got smacked around.
Yeah,
Though these are growing pains that you're expecting to see, and if the prospect is supposed to be as elite, or is if he's supposed to be an elite prospect, these are the kind of things that they should experience and be able to figure out.
I think he will. The stuff is so good. It's just he's got to be a little bit more consistent.
Yes.
And I think that once he gets that figured out, he'll be an elite pitching prospect for us and could be in the top 15 in our organization pretty soon.
Yeah. And that closes out for me. I don't have anybody else. I didn't really talk about Somerset, because everyone who, or most of the guys that we spoke about at Somerset are at Scranton now.
Yeah. Well, in AAA, Will Warren was somebody that got lit up in May. It had a horrible, horrible May.
He did.
And then this month he's pitched much, much better.
Hmm.
Um, I think that he might with you're seeing Luis Heel wear down a little bit.
Hmm.
The release point's getting a little low, which is a sign of fatigue. You know, with Clark Schmidt still being injured, I think Will Warren might be an option, but he has to be added to the 40 man. Um, but I think you see him in the Bronx sometime this year if he's not traded. Um,
Um, Regarding Rio, I think it's fatigue. I think he's
right.
already pitched. He might have already pitched more than what is it like? I think he's a little over 80 innings, I want to say.
Yeah, he is.
So he's already pitched more innings this year than he has like in the last three combined.
Right.
And this is about what I expect from him. I said it back before the season started. I expect he gets about 80 innings. I don't care what Matt Blake says about that there's no innings cap. I never believed that. It absolutely made no sense for a guy coming off of a Tommy John. I thought he was going to get about 80 innings, and he's right. I think he's right at that, or he just eclipsed that, and you're starting to see
Yeah.
the fatigue, which is normal. There's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong with him. It's fatigue.
Yeah, it is. And I still think that he is in top of the rotation pitcher moving forward for next year.
Mhm.
But for the rest of this year, you're probably going to have to see him in a bullpen role or something to back some of the innings off because he's just been looked
Yeah,
fatigued.
I think I told someone I was like, don't be surprised if you see that he has comes down with an injury. He's on the shelf for 3, 4 weeks, and when he comes back, they put him in the bullpen. Don't be surprised by that.
Yeah, I think Aaron Boone said yesterday or the day before that they were going to keep him on regular rest until about the All-Star break and then start getting creative with his innings, whatever that means. But I think that we'll see that. Another guy at AAA that we should talk about is Caleb Durbin a little bit.
Hmm.
Caleb has been out, but before he got hurt, he had just looked absolutely phenomenal. He's a guy that I thought should have been up much earlier. I would rather have him up than in the Jahmai Jones role than Jahmai Jones.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, and he's someone who doesn't strike out. I think the strikeout rate was below 10%.
Hmm.
It was last year, and I think it was most of this year. He had well over 20 stolen bases, and he was getting on base close to 40% of the time. So that's someone I think that you could see in the playoffs. And he could be that speed pinch runner if you needed him to be because Caleb's so fast. I've really become a big fan of Caleb Durbin, and that's another guy that you got to give Brian Cashman credit for because he got him for Lucas Litke. And
Hmm.
who expected to get anything for Lucas Litke?
Didn't the Yankees just resign him? Was it
No,
him?
that was no. They signed Chasen Streve.
Oh, Street. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I like what Caleb did. He killed in the Arizona League. Came back this season and he just kept right on with it. I know he stumbled a little bit on the onset of the season, but he took off after that. And yes, I repeatedly get this question. I don't know what's going on with Caleb Durbin's injury. There have been no updates. I haven't heard and I haven't seen anything of it. I don't have any news on Durbin or Chase Hampton.
No, I don't have anything on either. I heard that Caleb got hit in the hand by a
He
pitch,
did. Hmm.
and that's the only
And then he
information I,
disappeared.
yeah. And it's been about 4 weeks. So either way, he should be within 2 to 3 weeks of coming back. Even if he had a little break or a partial something in his hand, he should be moving back. So he could be an option later this year. Do you have any updates on Clayton Beater? Because he looked phenomenal in AAA.
Neither. And this is just to me, it's almost like a joke, right? A prospect gets hurt and then you just never hear from him again. I've said this before. Major League Baseball needs to do something about this because it's absolutely ridiculous. You know, these are top prospects. Fans go to the stadium, to these minor league stadiums to see these guys, and then they just don't know if they're going to be in the lineup or not, or when they'll return.
I think Beater is someone who could come back. I'm not sure that they're going to have enough time to get him fully stretched out to be a starter, but I don't think they need him to be a
Yeah,
starter.
they don't.
I think he's someone who could go into a multi-inning role in the bullpen or even the back end of that bullpen. I've always liked him as a reliever. Um, so maybe that would be another option in our bullpen instead of some of these reclamation projects we keep seeing.
Yeah, I mean that's what I always thought that I still think that he can be a starter, but I thought that that was going to be the only way that he makes his team or gets to the Bronx was by an opening in the bullpen.
Well, that's how he started the season, and then they sent him down after he threw 3 pitches. So
Yeah.
what about TJ Rumfield? Now that Ben Rice is up, what do you think TJ's future is?
Um, I think it still remains to be seen. I'm not ready to give up on TJ. TJ can hit. He's proving that almost every day. TJ is a Gold Glove defensive first baseman. He's a legit first baseman. He's not just there because there's nowhere else to put him. I mean, there's still value in that, right? Um,
Absolutely.
there's still plenty of value in that. Um, I don't know what his future is in the organization, especially if Ben Rice takes off, though. But I'm not ready to give up on TJ Rumfield being a part of this organization.
I'm not either, but he's another guy that's going to be Rule 5 eligible this winter. So they're going to have to either make a decision on him, putting him on the 40 man, or maybe trading him this at this deadline. Something you could see.
There's a few guys like that the Yankees are gonna have to make a decision on. I think I think I had a compiled a list and there was maybe 5 or 6 legit guys that I said they have to make a decision on these guys because these guys are gonna be
Yeah.
picked.
Yeah. And we'll have that for you guys towards the end of the year once we have a little clearer picture of what that will be. But what else do we got this week? We're going to have the farm report again this week.
We'll have the farm report again this week. I know I compiled a top 10 list of the first half leaders within the organization. Just been sitting on that for a while. I have to put that out. We have some IFA news. I don't know if you want to give it here.
Yeah, let's
A
go
few
into that.
more regarding IFAs. The Yankees are now linked to the number two, I believe the number two IFA in the 2029 class, I want to say.
Right.
Um, in the 2027 class, more of the same thing. There's just some exciting news on the IFA front.
Yeah, we'll have Nick back on to go through that with all of us again because Nick is the man when it comes to that kind of stuff.
Hmm.
And
And
then
by the way,
we
we're going to do the draft special.
Yeah, that's what I was just gonna say.
Okay.
We got Bobby Malone, Bobby Baseball, who's as good a draft guy as any of us know. He's gonna come on and do our draft special with us the week before the draft. So be on the lookout for that. Los, you want to take us out of here, bud?
We've said this before, if I don't want to see you guys saying that I've never heard of this guy, I've never heard of this guy. If you've never heard of him, that's because you're not following either me or Dane or NYU, because all of you guys should already know who most of these guys are. If not, hit that subscribe button and keep following us and keep up to date with us.
Later, guys. Have a
Later,
good
guys.
one.